Hey, what's up, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My Choose Cent slash Switch and gaming news for this week, where I take a look at some of the stuff that came out that interests me and give you my thoughts and my opinions. Also, want to wish everyone a happy and safe holidays out there. So, why don't we get started with 3 stories that caught my attention for this week? This one's a bit more Switch related, but it's still interesting though. So we'll start with the first one. So as some of you may have aware, a while back, couple of rumors have started to come out about claims that Soul Calibur 6 was in development for the Nintendo Switch though, and there was a rumor that Bandai Namco was going to hold an event on December 15th with Nintendo being present there. Obviously, at least as far as I'm aware of, that didn't happen, so obviously that rumor turned out to be false after all. And it turns out to be that Soul Calibur 6 is currently not in development for the Switch, at least for the moment, despite the game was being revealed at the Video Games Rewards, and some people thought there was some hope that the game would come, especially when they looked up the lists of where the game was going to be available on, and Switch was not there. So, and obviously this kind of sort of furthers that a little bit. So, from an article, if I could find it, where is that article? Oh, okay, right behind me though. Okay, from an article from NintendoLife.com, and the link will be in the description of this video. It points out that the producer of the game had put our minds at ease, even if not quite responsive looking for. Speaking to Metro, he admit that Soul Calibur 6 is isn't currently in development for the Switch, but that doesn't necessarily mean the game will bypass this console altogether. The question was asked: is there any chance that we switch version so we can have Link again? And his response was, Soul Calibur 6 development started more than 3 years ago, and nobody knew anything about the Switch back then. So as a matter of fact, we are not working on Switch as of right now. But of course, personally, I'm interested in the platform. So if the Unreal Engine can adapt to Switch and evolve itself, then maybe the possibility will be more. Now, I will admit to some degree, I am kind of a little bit disappointed that it isn't in development and not coming to the Switch though. It would have been nice to have that game available, even though may not be a huge Soul Calibur or fighting game type of a person. I'm open to bringing these games to the Nintendo Switch. The more the merrier though. But it does seem that they're not ruling out the possibility of the game coming over. It's clear though that obviously development started before they knew about the Switch, or at the time it was called NX. So, and it does certainly leave the door open to the possibility that the game could come to the Switch down the road, though. I mean, after all, I believe that we're getting another fighting game from Bandai Namco. I think it's called One Hero, or My Hero Academy, though. Heard a little bit about it, haven't seen the anime or anything like that, which is supposed to be a fighting game that's coming to the PS4 and Nintendo Switch. And it's possible Bandai Namco might be looking at that and seeing how that game does on the Switch, and whether or not, if there's an audience there, and if the game does well, perhaps they may be interested in bringing Soul Calibur 6 to the Switch. After all, I believe Dragon Ball Z Fighter is coming to the Nintendo Switch as well, and I do believe that Bandai Namco was kind of caught by surprise that basically the game isn't... they were caught by surprise the fact that the Switch is selling very well and want to try to catch up to it. So it certainly is disappointing that it's not coming to the Switch, but it sounds like they're not ruling it out completely though. Hopefully they'll consider bringing it over though. It would be nice if it would though, and if it does happen though, it would be interesting if they use Link again, or maybe the Fire Emblem characters though. But as of right now, Soul Calibur 6 is not coming to the Switch. Am I disappointed? Yeah, I am kind of disappointed. Am I surprised by this? Not really. Anytime a rumor comes out saying this is being developed for the Switch or not, you gotta take it with with a grain of salt until you see official confirmation. Like with the LA Noire rumor that later on turned out to be true when it was officially confirmed. So yes, I'm somewhat disappointed that it's not coming to the Switch as of right now, but it sounds like we could see a port down the road for the Nintendo Switch. Whether or not there will be an audience for that if they release a port later on after the PS4 and Xbox One version comes out remains to be seen, but as of right now, it is not coming to the Nintendo Switch, at least not at the moment though. Okay, we're going to take a bit of a break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about a comment made by Bethesda regarding the upcoming Switch port of Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. So, we'll take a bit of a break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our My 2 Cent video for this week. And for the second part, we're going to be taking a look at a report that has come out for basically who is handling the port of Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, which has came out this week for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and has gotten rave reviews though. I haven't tried the game out yet. I need to try it out though. I have to have time for it. My schedule has been busy and all that stuff, but hopefully I'll get to it soon on that one. But until then, apparently the game, has won awards and all that stuff, and controversy with the whole Make America Nazi Free Again, which a bunch of right-wingers people throwing a hissy fit over it for no apparent reason. Then again, they did the same thing with Far Cry 5 and all, but either way. Moving on to that though, it appears that we now know who is developing the Switch port of Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, if I'm saying the name correctly, and it is no other than Panic Button, working the same studio that did did a very good job with the port of the Switch version of Doom. Even though it wasn't perfect, it certainly did a really good job with it. And they recently did the port of Rocket League for the Nintendo Switch. Haven't tried that one out yet, but I have heard the physical copy is in the works, so if that happens, I'm willing to pick up a physical copy. But in your case, according to an article, again from Nintendo Life, will be in the description though, the developers, speaking at the Fun and Serious Game Festivals in Bilbao, pardon me if I'm not saying the name correctly, it's Bilbao, Machine Gun's narrative designer and senior game designers confirmed the news that a collaboration with different studios that we working with, it's the same studio as the Doom studio though. They also said that they're experts at the Switch, and now they're experts with the ID Tech 6 engine, so we work with them, and the Doom version turned out to be really kick-ass on the Switch, so I think Wolfenstein will be the same though. Now, I'm both happy with this though, but I'm also somewhat a little bit concerned at the same time though. First off, I'm glad the Panic Button is working on, that's my phone, forget about that, that they're working on the Switch version of Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus though. Having played Doom on the Nintendo Switch, I will say they did a really good job with it despite the system's limitations so on. Obviously, for the game to work on the Nintendo Switch though, there had to be some compromises. One of those were basically downgrading it to 720p 30 frames per second compared to how the PS4 and the Xbox One, which are at 1080p 60 frames per second, or even what the PC version is. So obviously there were some compromises though. So I'm very happy with the game nevertheless though, and I am pleased that Panic Button is working on it though. But at the same time, I do wonder if they are going to make any improvements or adjustments with the Switch version of Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. In a perfect world for me though, I would love to see the game run at 1080p 60 frames per second though, but at the same time I feel like that might not be possible, and that there is a good chance we may be seeing the game run at 720p 30 frames per second though I would like to see that, or at the very least I would like to see sort of a graphical option, much like we saw with the PS4 exclusive earlier this year. I think Noih, I think it's Noih, pardon me if I'm saying the name wrong, or what we saw with Fire Emblem Warriors that came out, which when playing the game, and this you have a choice of a 1080p 30 frames per second, which is quality, or a 720p 60 frames per second, which is performance though. So I would like to see something like that in Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus though we don't know if that will happen or not though. As far as content wise though, we know I think there's a DLC coming out for it, so I'm hoping that's available also on the Nintendo Switch, or whether it's going to be put in with all the content like Doom was or not will remain to be seen. So I am happy about it. I am pleased that Panic Button's handling it because they did a good job with the port of Doom. But I do hope, and I'm hoping to say the least though, that they can make some improvements from the way Doom was on the Switch though. So hopefully they've learned some ins and outs and all that stuff. So here's to hoping that Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus runs well on the Switch, and here's to hoping that Panic Button handles the port very well. So I do have some concerns, but I am hopeful with it though. I am optimistic that they will do a good job with the system though. So do a good job with the port though. So, but we'll have to wait and see. There is no, other than a 2018 launch date, we don't have an official release date. It's possible it could be early 2018, but then again, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But overall, some concerns, but am optimistic and pleased that Panic Button's handle it this version. They did a good job with Doom. Wasn't perfect, but they did a good job, and it certainly was not a half-ass port. And it seems Rocket League is earning a lot of praises, despite even running at 60 frames per second, despite it being at 720p. And hopefully Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus earns that praise as well, and hopefully that is handled very well. And hopefully we'll see more support from Bethesda down the road. I would love to see, I would like to see Wolfenstein The New Order and The Old Blood come to the Switch. Would like to see Dishonored 1 and 2 come to the Switch, Prey, and Evil Within 1 and 2, and of course I would love to see Fallout 4 come to the Switch. Hopefully that will happen, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Okay, we're going to take a bit of a break, and when we come back, we're going to get to our third and final part of our story, and this one's going to be taking a look at a report about what's next for the Zelda series. So we'll take a little break, and we'll be right back. Okay, and we are back with the third and final part of our my 2 cent video for this week, and this one has to do with certain comments regarding what the future holds for the next Zelda game following the success, though there are some people who don't like and dislike some of the direction they went with Breath of the Wild for the Nintendo Switch. So according to several articles, again, link will be in the description, but this one is from Nintendo Today. It is worth pointing out that according to the Zelda producer, who's in charge of the Breath of the Wild and many other Zelda games, his team is already at work on the next game in the series. The final Breath of the Wild DLC was released earlier this month, and it now seems certain we won't have any more big DLCs for the game, as the team has moved on to the next title in the series, which obviously makes sense because it has now confirmed to Famitsu that the champion's Ballad, Ballad, pardon me if I'm saying the name wrong, is the final content for Breath of the Wild. That's not to say support for the game has ended. There will still be patches and maybe some minor tweaks and updates, but the main development team has moved on to the next game in the series. First and foremost, I'm not surprised if this is the last DLC. I haven't tried it yet. I still gotta give it a go though. But if it is, and most likely is, it's not really that surprising. I mean, I don't know how much more stuff you are going to be able to put in this game. At some point though, it's going to be enough is enough. I mean, there are some people who have criticized Final Fantasy 15 and the whole, they did a season pass and they decided to do another season pass and put more and more and more stuff, that it's getting to the point that many people feel like they're kind of milking it to death though. So while it is somewhat disappointing we're not getting any more DLCs for Breath of the Wild, it does make sense as far as they are working on the next Zelda game, which is good though. Whatever direction they go with it, it would be interesting to see what exactly they do with the next Zelda game. Personally, I would prefer if they keep it in the open world setting. I really like that approach though, and I would like to see them keep that. But there are some adjustments I would like to see for the next Zelda series. One thing though, in Breath of the Wild, in order to get, there's no like pieces of hearts or anything like that. In this one, you do get heart containers, but you only get them when you I believe when you complete some of the shrines. I haven't gotten that far in it. I don't know 100% certain, but I would like to see some changes to that approach. Same with, improving your stamina meter. I would like to see, instead of basically doing just the shrines, I would like to see maybe how they have some of the mini bosses spread out throughout the map of Hyrule. Maybe if you defeat one, you get a piece of heart right there. Or take certain elements from past Zelda games where you have to go searching to find pieces of heart. So I would like to see that come back as well. I also think changing some of the weapon durations would be nice, because I can understand some of the complaints people have about it, that the weapon duration, once you have the weapon one too many times, eventually it suddenly breaks. And also, I do think some kind of changes to that, make it last a little bit longer to have that weapon, or have some way to sort of upgrade it or anything like that. Similar to that, somewhat similar to how they do in Skyrim and all. I know they looked at Skyrim as inspiration, and that's great. So I do think there's some adjustments they can make with that. But overall, I did enjoy Breath of the Wild. I still want to see that open world approach return, though. But I do see some minor adjustments and changes, though. So hopefully they'll bring some changes to it. Again, keep the open world, but take certain elements from past Zelda games. Like maybe put some main dungeons in this time around. Or perhaps maybe also at the same time put some mini dungeons. Maybe those mini dungeons will have rubies, piece of hearts, or items that improve your stamina. Maybe an item to use though. Maybe it has, or an upgrade for your item as well though. I also would like to see maybe some improvement in upgrading your inventory. Finding those seeds though, it sort of can be a little bit of a pain. I mean, they're not terrible, but I'd like to see maybe there are better ways to upgrade that as well. Let's see, what else would I like to see? Let's see, same with the weapon duration though. But overall, I will say these are some of the minor changes I would like to see. I'm sure there are others that would like to bring some other changes as well, but these are some of the stuff I would like to see in the next Zelda game, which obviously is going to be for the Switch though, unless that game gets delayed like we saw with Breath of the Wild after Skyward Sword, how that eventually got released on the Wii U but became a launch title for the Switch, which pretty much is very similar to what happened with Twilight Princess. It eventually got released on the GameCube, but it was also brought to the Nintendo Wii as well. So overall, I'm not surprised that they're ending the DLCs for Breath of the Wild. Obviously, it's time to move on to the next Zelda game that they're working on. And if they do work on it, though, again, I want to see them keep the open world aspects, but I also think there are some areas they can improve upon. Maybe borrow certain elements from past Zelda games and bring it in as well, but we'll have to wait and see. But great that they're working on the next Zelda game. Looking forward to it when it eventually comes out. Hopefully the second one will be released during the Switch's lifespan as well, but we'll have to wait and see if that happens. Alright, but overall, great that they're working on the next one, though. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion, but what are yours? What are your thoughts about Soul Calibur 6 not coming to the Nintendo Switch at the moment? Are you surprised by this announcement? Are you not surprised? Do you think it will eventually come to the Nintendo Switch, or do you think it's most likely not going to come to the Nintendo Switch at all? What are your thoughts about Panic Button being the ones handling the Switch port of Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus? Are you pleased with that announcement? Do you think Panic Button would do a good job? Or do you think they'll do a bad job? Or do you have some concerns about that? And what about the thought of the DLCs are done for Breath of the Wild and the next Zelda game is coming up? Are you happy that they are done with all the DLCs for Breath of the Wild, or do you think they should have made some more DLCs? And what about the next Zelda game? Do you agree with me like it should be the next open world one, or do you think they should take more like the linear approach that they have in past Zelda games? And are there any ideas you think they should add for the next Zelda game though? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think, and I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it, and I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. It can either be through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video, and I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that will be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day and happy holidays as well. Bye!